Hey everyone, Karen the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel. I am very grateful for your company today. Thank you for being here. I'm going to start work on my Christmas mish-mash quilt, as you may have gathered. I have a large bag and a small bag of finished blocks and blocks in progress. In case you don't remember, when I was doing demonstrations and teaching classes at a local quilt shop over a period of a few years anyway, I would use red and green and white and beige fabric and Christmas fabric, winter and Christmas fabric, when I was doing the blocks for the demos or classes. And so I ended up with lots of blocks and blocks in progress because I would do step by step for the blocks. So I have a lot of those. And then I also have, let me haul it on over here, a big old bin of winter and Christmas fabric, which I can use for doing fillers in between the blocks. I also have this photo of a layout that I did apparently in December of 2022, which I can use as a starting place. I want to start with a block or an area of blocks that fit together, and there are spaces that would need fillers, and these may not all be able to go together without seams in there. So still things to do, of course, but this gives me a starting point. And the reason I like to do this instead of just picking up some blocks of the same size and sewing them together is because I do have a beige and off-white, and then I have pure white, and then I have different intensities of the red and green, and I like to have those distributed around a little bit as well. So this gives me the advantage of doing that. So I'm going to kind of dig around in my blocks and see what I can find to even just get a start. I mean, here are two blocks right here that I could sew together that are the same size. There is an advantage in that when I was doing the demos for blocks, I was doing them mostly 12/9 and 6-inch, so they will fit together better than some that are just kind of random things. So I guess it's time to get started on this. Change of plans. Big surprise, right? This block was actually a sample of an autograph block. So I have these blank spaces here, which seem a little off-kilter to me. Not bad, but a little bit off-kilter. So I think I'm going to embroider something here, machine embroidery. I've been playing a little more with my embroidery machine, bless its heart. And I do have a few blocks that I have already done. Some of them, well, some embroideries I've already done. Some of them are applique, and some of them are just embroidery. And I think I can find something, either some words like happy holidays or I don't know, something that I can put in here. And then this one has this large half triangle here, and I might be able to put something decorative in there, something flowerish. Flardy, as a friend of mine used to say, it's flardy. So that means, these two cute little guys, that means I need to find a couple more blocks to get started, which won't be difficult. Now as I'm going through, I'm finding others. This one, they all need to be pressed, I'm aware. This one, I could do something in the center as well. May as well make use of that embroidery machine, right? The machine and I were having quite a discussion the last few days, and I was in the middle of this one when I decided that it did not want to work anymore. So it was a long few days, but I figured it out and solved the problem. There was a thread caught in the upper thread passage. So I have plenty to do here, and I need something where my brain does not need to be very much engaged. As you can tell, it isn't very much engaged today. So I will be doing that, and then I'm just going to find a couple other blocks in the photo and I'll get started on that. I have lots of other blocks to finish as well. It's not like I'm going to finish this quilt today. So to make a start and build confidence, you know, I put together some blocks that fit together without any fillers in them. And now I'm sort of going by the diagram or the photo that I showed you early, sort of. And now I want to, of course, piece together 2 9 patches. I had this, flying geese, and those fit together well. And I wanted to add this. They're going to be the same here, but I need to add a little bit of filler in, because by the time I do this 1/4 inch seam, I'm going to need just a little strip of fabric over here. So because I have so much light and white going on, I decided I would go with a print here. And then once I have these 2 pieced, and I can piece this to it and then trim them up to be the same size. I'm off to do that. Now it's time to trim this. I'm going to line it up with this edge and then also with a perpendicular line, horizontal line here. So that is a straight side. All right, now that piece could fit there with a filler, or could do something like this or this, either one, and then fill in over here with some more blocks. And I just happen to have more blocks. Isn't that amazing? Oh, there's a couple already put together. And that will be wider than I need, so then I would add a filler over here. I think what I want to do, though, as I'm pressing this, is probably put some segments together like these, and then lay those out and see how I might want to arrange them. That, for example, that's just too much light next to each other. So I could find some others here. And it's just a matter of going through the pieces that I have. So I could do something like that with a filler in between. That one's going to be a little wide. I have these pieces that I could trim to size and start to finish that out there. So in other words, it's just a matter of kind of fitting them together like pieces of the puzzle, and if they don't really fit, then I just put in some fillers. I could do a checkerboardy kind of thing here with fillers on either side of those, so it's a little, I wonder if I have another one. I don't really want the reds next to each other, but I guess that's inevitable with that. So, unless I do, excuse me, this, oh, well, that's not going to work because those are the opposite. Anyway, so I just have to think about how I want things to go together. But first, I have some embroidery that I want to do, but I also have a lot of unfinished blocks to work on. And that will give me then more options to choose from. And maybe some fillers. I do have a piece somewhere that is, here it is, an embroidery piece that I purposely made a narrow piece because I knew there would be some times when I would need a narrow piece, and then I left plenty of room around it so that I could cut it to whatever size or width that I needed. So this could be a good piece, say along one side where I put blocks together, but they need just a little bit more, then I could have something like that. So lots of options, which is why I have not done this before now. I am going to hold on to these two, do some embroidery, and now I want to pull out some unfinished blocks, particularly of smaller size, because then I can use those as filler, and I want some idea of how many of those blocks I might have as fillers. Here is just one small bag of the unfinished blocks. Can you say, where do I begin? Fortunately, some of them I did pin pieces together, so this is supposed to be an 8-pointed star, I guess. And I don't know what some of these are. I should have put notes with them, is what I should have done. But I can always wing it. I'll think of something else. This is going to be flying geese. And I have all sorts of these. I do not know why. I must have had half square triangles left over from something and just went to town with them. Oh, so these are finished. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. What I could do is take these that from this bag that are not finished and get them finished, so then I have another bag of things. These are also going to be flying geese. I recognize from the way that I do flying geese. So those are stepwise. I remember I did a demonstration or one of my classes or something on 5 ways to make flying geese. And that's where these came from. So these need finishing. All of these need finishing, but these are already finished. See, I'm way ahead. I'm way ahead. No problem. I just won't look at the other bags that I haven't finished. So let me try finishing just a couple of these, just to prove that I'm actually doing it. These have been sitting around for so long. It's embarrassing. So I need to get some of these finished. From that stack of partially finished, I got a sawtooth star, a couple of hourglasses. I don't know what those are called, but I got a couple of those. 3 half square triangles and a lot of flying geese. So I have fillers or pieces that I can use to make larger blocks, and I'm pretty happy about that. I still have a couple more bags of unfinished blocks, but at least this bag of unfinished blocks is now finished. My next step is going to be doing some embroidery, and I will share at least 1, maybe 2 of those when I have finished that. And Stella will be helping me. She's my brother embroidery machine. I have done 1 embroidery so far, just a simple Mary. These blocks that I'm doing the embroidery on were actually blocks that created secondary patterns when you put them all together. So as standalone blocks, they're kind of, which is why I'm doing embroidery on them. So I've gotten started on that. And then I opened up my other bags of things still to do and came up with still more blocks. So I have quite a few fillers here. And then there's some more fillers of various sizes. And the advantage of, say, these half square triangles and the 4 patches is that I can adjust them to the size that I want. So if I need something small, well, as long as it's smaller, if I need something smaller, then I can cut them down. and then some sort of medium-sized things. Goodness knows what I had planned for these, but that's what they are now. And then no clue what this was going to be, what these pieces were going to be, but I made them into a Jacob's ladder. And then because I had so many flying geese, I was able to make 2 good-sized blocks. So these are 12-inch square, and clearly these are from my 5 ways to do flying geese, because I have a ton of them by different methods. So I am making progress. I think I'm pretty much finished with finishing blocks until I find where I might need fillers. And then I have pieces of things I can put together to whatever I need. Although I did forget that I will be finishing this one. This is just a Dresden plate that needs to be appliqued. So I will find a piece of background fabric, applique this on. Oh, I'm wondering. I have a favorite piece of fabric that I just love, and I was planning to do some embroidery on it, which I will still do. I just love this, and I think that might be a decent background for this, just for a little extra liveliness in the background. Love that. That'd make a good pillow for Christmas, wouldn't it? Anyway, so I do have this piece as well, and it will be good to have this wrapped up because it's just been on my mind for a long time. So I'm really happy. I appreciate you all hanging in there with me while I do something that just really isn't usually in my wheelhouse. But this is from way back in the day when this was exactly my wheelhouse. Not that I don't like it now. I love traditional quilts for sure. So I appreciate you hanging in with me. I needed to do something like this where I can just put things through the machine without doing any thinking or planning. And so I appreciate you all. I guess that will be it for this week. No clue. Next week, don't know how I'm going to feel. I'm feeling a little dry in terms of creativity right now. So we'll just have to see what happens in the next week. So I hope I will see you then, whatever it brings. In the meantime, be well, be safe. Love you all. Peace out.